All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us over at API Days. I'm Brian, and alongside me today is Thiru. Together, we lead the charge as product and tech leads for Cloud File Transfer, a whole of government file transfer solution from GovTech Singapore. Together, we are thrilled to share with you the narrative behind our journey of modernizing file transfers. I'll be your narrator, guiding you through the story's twists and turns, while Thiru will expertly navigate the intricate technical aspects of our file transfer digital infrastructure journey. Our story begins with a simple vision to provide a secure and reliable whole of government file transfer solution. CFT provides reliability, security, and efficiency, facilitating seamless exchanges between agencies and stakeholders. It is scalable, adaptive, and prioritizes data integrity, empowering agencies to streamline operations and elevate collaboration across the whole of government ecosystem. But how do we come about creating this product? Are there not existing COTS and SaaS products that agencies could purchase? And yes, indeed there were. However, opting for these solutions would have led to a duplicative use of resources. Agencies would have needed to procure and restitch additional components such as malware scanners, encryption modules, and hosting infrastructure, just to name a few. This approach would not only incur additional costs, but also complicate the integration process, especially for our larger systems and user bases. Now, you might be wondering, this cannot be the first time anyone in the government thought of this. And of course not. There was an incumbent whole of government solution in place. However, as time passed, it became evident that the product was aging and less able to keep up with the evolving needs and expectations of our agencies. So let's take a look at the challenges with the previous incumbent and other self-sourced solutions from our agencies. These are some very loud feedback that we have heard. And number one was many of these services could only handle file transfers up to a limited file size. And often the maximum was only 2 GB per file transfer. It required our users to resort to splitting their files. And even for the smaller file transfers, they were finding creative methods to overcome cross-zone transfers. We even observed many instances of users tapping on our WOG API gateway product Apex for file transfers. So that's not the way you use an API gateway product, correct? So secondly, agencies were constrained to use proprietary and outdated encryption methods as well. There was a clear demand for more secure and cost-effective options, like, say, PGP encryption. And three, self-serviceable monitoring was lacking too. From our interviews, we found that agency subscribers had to raise service requests after an incident to understand what went wrong, with log retrievers often taking up to 3 working days. So this delay was far from ideal for users troubleshooting critical systems, as you might have imagined. All right. Notification systems were the predominant methods for, email notifications were the predominant method for us to receive file transfer status updates as well. However, users expressed a desire to move away from the manual monitoring of their inboxes, and they sought alternative tools like webhooks for event-driven notifications instead. And I pressed the transition a bit early, but the most important point that they brought up was that they were hesitant to invest additional time, effort, and money into building and maintaining their own transfer services. Having a central, reliable file transfer service would allow ministries and agencies to redirect their resources towards improving core agency functions, ultimately benefiting our nation, Singapore, as a whole. So despite these challenges, the vision for a modernized file transfer solution persisted. So Thiru and I were volunteered by the bosses to embark on this journey of modernizing WOG file transfers. In the first week of our design interview, we discovered that the security and user requirements were challenging, just to say the least. Stressed by the many demands to show our proof of concept, we came up with the following for management. So let's just take a quick look at the outcome of our very first screen. A second, All right, secure large file transfers by hand. That's probably the only way you can do it so quickly in the first week. We still don't quite understand why this particular POC was rejected, but we came up with the following instead. All right. Let's draw some parallels between the gag video earlier and the reality of cross-zone file transfers within the government. Just like travelers at an airport who must undergo rigorous luggage inspection before being granted clearance into the transit area, cross-zone file transfers require a similar level of scrutiny and security measures. This GIF here depicts travelers bringing in their luggage for inspection, serving as an analogy for our cross-zone file transfer process. Right. Each luggage is assigned a unique file ID and uploaded through a web form by the sender, ensuring traceability and accountability through the file transfer process. Uploaded luggage undergo thorough malware scanning, and if deemed clean, they are securely held in the CFT S3 storage for retrieval by the receiver. The web form, along with the uploaded luggage, is seamlessly transited to the relevant agency's intranet or web server through an API gateway, facilitating smooth and secure data transfer. Finally, the receiver retrieves the luggage from CFT's S3 storage, completing the final transfer process with confidence and efficiency. Now let's talk about one of our earliest pilot projects with Live SG and the Municipal Services Office from the Ministry of National Development. They needed a reliable transfer service for municipal reporting, ensuring residents' feedback reached the right agencies or town councils and keeping them updated on case progress. CFT stepped in, and the pilot was a resounding success. It is now an integral part of transferring over 1.7 million municipal cases annually. As we celebrate our successes in transforming municipal services, we must also ensure that core operations are also supported to run efficiently and securely. So enter CFT once again. Cloud file transfer goes beyond just supporting traditional file transfers. It also caters to modern needs such as single-page applications. Leveraging our SDKs, we have facilitated the reliable and secure transfer of text documents uploaded by members of public and corporations via IRAS's My Tax Portal to the Inland Revenue Interactive Network in the backend. This integration ensures that your tax submissions are processed smoothly and securely without any hiccups along the way. So, whether it's facilitating municipal case resolutions or ensuring the seamless transaction of tax documents, CFT continues to prove its versatility and reliability in meeting the diverse needs of our government services. So, is CFT on the right track? Yes, I think we are. We officially launched in February 24, just 2 months ago, and we are already serving over 70 subscribed projects and facilitating the file transfers between more than 500 different systems across over 1,500 workflows. And this number will only continue to grow as we continue to onboard more users this year. It reflects the growing adoption and trust in our solution by government agencies, but we are not stopping here. We will continue to innovate and evolve the changing landscape of government services. All right, that is what we'll do as a file transfer service for the government. Now, to delve deeper into the technical intricacies of modern file transfer, I will hand it over to Thiru, our tech lead, who will provide you with more valuable insights and perspectives. Thiru, over to you.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us today. And I'll be explaining about CFT and also its development journey with you all. So probably I will begin with the retrospective look of CFT's development journey. So where I think I would like to provide the details of how the agency requirements started for CFT. From there, how CFT has evolved as a product. And also, I would like to provide some of the important components of CFT and how they are working together to for this secure and reliable file transfer solution. Also, I would like to discuss about some of the technical and design decisions we have taken during the development journey. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's look at the requirements first. The initial requirements, what we have got from the agencies is like they wanted to do a file transfer, bigger files from the intranet to government intranet. So in government intranet, meaning it's more of an on-prem environment. And when they want to do the file transfer, they also wanted to make sure the file is clean. Also, they wanted to support end-to-end encryptions to make sure the file is secured during the transit as well. So once the initial requirements are ready for us, we have started our POC, and we have set the simplest goals for us during the POC stage, where we wanted to create a service with malware scanning, and it can also perform the cross-zone file transfer is what the agency asked for. Also, we wanted to make sure we want to use all the cloud native services available, and you don't to really develop any more other services, okay? And the final decision was to only provide APIs for the file transfer purposes. And we have created 4 to 5 APIs in the initial stage, and to perform this cross-zone file transfer. And we have started as a lean team, and there are only 2 members were available in the POC stage. And we took around like 3 to 4 months of time to complete the POC. And once we have completed the POC, we have piloted the POC with a few agencies, around like 3 to 4 agencies, and for the feedback purposes. And we have got a number of feedbacks from them, I mean, including actually changing all the API responses, and they wanted webhook notifications. So we have collected all those the new requirements and the feedbacks from the agencies. Then we have moved into more of an MEP stage. So if you look at the MEP stage, the goals, some of them remains the same as POC, like cloud native, but there are a few new requirements where like they wanted to also support SFTP. Okay, so we were initially giving only HTTPS, and they were also there's a high demand for SFTP. Also, they wanted a seamless integration with the APIs, something like they wanted a SDK support. And for the file transfer, they also wanted large files, like I think when we have initially started with, say, for example, 100 MB to 1 GB, then also later they wanted a bigger files, more than 1 GB files. And initially we were giving only the malware scanning support, but I think the later time we also asked to provide the CDR support. CDR is something like a content disarm and reconstruction, where the service can help to remove the active content and malware content from the file. And the scalable and the reliable and cost and time savings, these are the usual requirements from all the agencies. Okay, let's move in. Then once we have the MEP goals ready, and as a team, we have created the number of epics and user stories, and we have done a very nice grooming sessions along with the entire team. And we have actually we have also added, I think, few members in the team now. And one of the component we have prioritized that time is the portal. So portal, why we thought actually is very important actually for the MVP is that during the POC time we didn't have any portal. Okay, so we have onboarded all the pilot agencies using our backend infra. So we thought actually, okay, so it's primarily we need a portal for the agencies to manage their own resources. So how they usually get onboarded into CFT is usually CFT team create a project for agencies when they want to onboard. Once a project has been created and we assign a tenant manager for the project, and they can manage their own resources in the portal. Say in this case, workflow is one of the important component in the portal, where workflow is where they are actually defining their requirements with CFT. So it's a unidirectional pipeline with policies. So when you say unidirectional pipeline, it has a sender and the receiver application attached to the workflow. And they can also define their policies where they can say what's the file size they wanted and what is the file types they allow into the workflow. And they can also create other resources like applications, keys, webhooks, and the file transfer logs is something where they can go and see their files, whatever has been uploaded into CFT, and their latest status of the files. This portal, the entire portal has been created with Vue.js and Laravel stack. And we have only like 2 to 3 members in the team, full stack developers, to create this entire portal. So now you know how the portal works. Actually, once the agency created their webhook, they can start to really do the file transfer. So if you look at how the CFT works, is there is a sender application, a service sitting in the intranet or the intranet zone, and they wanted to send the files to CFT first. When they send the file to CFT, they may be using HTTP or SFTP protocol. And once they send the file to CFT, CFT will go through the policy configuration, the pre-created policy configurations, or they will check the file size, it will check the file types and everything, and it will also send to the malware scanning. So once the malware scanning is completed, it will make the file available in the clean bucket for the receiver to download. So and also CFT will send the notifications, a web notification to the receiver endpoints, where the receiver can come and pick up the file. This is a high level and overall the flow of CFT. So let's look at the functional components in CFT. If you consider portal as a control plane, a centralized control plane where the agencies come and they create their own workflows, the CFT backend, we are running multiple services to make this entire file transfer to happen. So if you look at there are primary services are here, like the malware scanning service, and we do have the API server and the SFTP server, SFTP client, and notification server. And these services are running and for internet facing as well as intranet facing endpoints. So these have separate endpoints for both zones. And the agency services, like their HTTP client or their SFTP client or SFTP server, can connect to their internet facing endpoints. Also, for the intranet endpoints, they can come to CFT's intranet. Okay. These are the functional components which is really powering the actual file transfer. And this is the data plane of the APIs of the CFT product. Let's look at the APIs. So for the next few slides, I'll be talking about our APIs and I think how we have designed and developed them. So primarily, we have around 15 APIs, 15 plus APIs with CFT, catering for the backend server uploads as well as for the SPA uploads. So the authentication, one of the primary API, is in use by both sender and receiver applications before they start to either upload or download, or either to get the status or get the list of files being uploaded to the workflow. Let's look at the design and development. So from the day one, we have adopted the design first approach. And all the APIs in CFT have been created with the open API specs first, and it's been reviewed internally. Then it's also been reviewed with a few agencies to make sure the requirements are being collected properly. And once actually the review process is completed, we go to the development phase. So we use Golang for our APIs development, and all this developments, I think we have around like 2 to 3 engineers to take care of this backend APIs development as of now. Okay, all our CI/CD pipelines are configured in GitLab, and we do have actually unit testing and the functional testing pipelines configured with the GitLab as well. So once the development is completed, when they commit the code, the APIs will go through a commit analysis. It performs the SAS checks. Also, like it will also perform the unit testing, and once they are passed, it will be the image will be built, okay, and it will be deployed into the AWS environment, okay. And that's I think about testing and deployment. Let's look at the error handling and reliability. Our APIs are actually, we do create number of error response codes in the open API specs, and we don't also write the code from the scratch for the APIs, and we generate the server stubs from the open API specs. And we primarily use a Gin web framework for the hosting of the APIs. And this particular framework comes with a number of features. I think some of the features we really like. Actually, it has request and response validations. Also, it can handle the requests concurrently so that the requests won't be piling up, I think, when there's a high load. and it provides high performance, and it can also recover from the panic. Let's also look at, I think, the security and compliance. So for our self-service portal, we do use TechPass as one of our IDP for authentication. This TechPass is actually a centralized authentication application used in Singapore tech stack. And for our backend APIs, we primarily use JWT authentication, where I think when we provide client ID in secret when they create applications in the portal. So when the agencies connect to our backend API, they need to provide the client ID in secret, and we provide back the JWT token, which is valid for 30 minutes. And the token contains the scopes for sender. It contains specific scopes for the upload of the files. For the receiver, it contains scopes to download the files, and the receiver, I think, definitely cannot upload the file. And the SPA APIs, we do have authentication with Pixie and the JWT. And primarily for SPA APIs, we do support the SDKs as well. And for our SFTP server, we have user ID, password, and the key combination for the authentication. And it can be either user ID and the SSH key, or user ID, password, and SSH key. And for the data security, we provide the multi-engine scan as well as PGP encryption, decryption, and we also provide CDR. Okay, in terms of scalability and performance, we use S3 as our primary storage medium for all our files, and we do have a number of buckets to move the files during the scanning process and encryption, decryption. And for all the transaction details and the metadata, we store in RDS. And our portal and API services and SFTP services, all these services are actually hosted in ECS Fargate, and we do use WAF and AWS Seal for our security posture. And we primarily use AWS Transfer Family for our SFTP services. And we use CloudWatch and CloudTrail for our logs and monitoring. All this being actually, the logs are being monitored for anomalies as well. And if you look at in terms of monitoring alerts, we do provide actually a unified dashboard in our portal where the users can come and look at actually all the created workflows and the active or inactive ones. Also, they can view the file transfers, where actually they can check what are the files uploaded, the real-time files uploaded into the workflow, and what are the status of those files, including the scan status, encryption status, decryption status. This is primarily helps for the operations team for the agencies, including the CFT team. And all our APIs are being monitored with the CloudWatch synthetic monitoring, and the monitoring alerts whenever there's an issue, it will be fired with Slack, so that our L1 team can take the appropriate action immediately. With that, I have come to the end of my talk. Thanks, everyone. If you have any further questions, you can ask Brian or Thiru. Thanks. Bye.